This is breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.
Voted team of individuals that are committed to our children so they have a great start of a meal, because we have kids in our schools that eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner with us. So it's a dedicated team of individuals that are really produce a great product to the delight of all, because we are CCSD. So in 1987, I go back, I'm sitting, you like the picture, Michael, 71. We were tough, Coach. We were sitting in the locker room in 1987. I didn't realize that my life was going to change that spring. The previous football staff got fired. I guess we had something to do with that. And we had a new football coaches. In Florida, that's kind of what happens, right? We were 1-9. But the most important part is that I had an opportunity to meet an individual, Coach Larsh, U.S. history teacher, somebody that changed my life. I didn't realize it then, because you're a teenager. Didn't realize it, but this man had an impact till today. Asked questions about me. What he soon learned was that the previous year, I was ineligible to play football because when my dad left my mother of 5, I had to go to work and I didn't keep up with my studies. So, fast forward, he then says, by the way, we did get better. We went from 1-9 to 3-7, and we were close in a lot of those other games. You see that? See that crew? We walked that school and thinking that we were it. But what we realized, that the girls volleyball team that were known to win state championship after state championship, and our boys soccer team, and our baseball teams, going 3-7 was a big deal for us. But at the end of the season, Coach Larsh came to me, somebody that I had just met, and he says, "What are you doing after college, after high school?" And he said, I say, what every kid in Miami at that time, without a plan, I'm going to Miami-Dade Community College. Just to have an answer. And he says, "Well, why don't you go to college and play football?" He says, "You have the talent, and I can help you." He says, "Go see your counselor and ask about the SAT and go look for college opportunities." So I go down there. So now you see hope. I get to see my counselor, looks at my grades and says, "You don't have the talent, you don't have the grades, you can't go to college." Go look at their brochure. So I immediately go see Coach Larsh, and he says, "I'll help you." He put a film of my highlights, helped me register, take the SAT, took it a couple times, applied to Morningside College in Sioux City, Iowa, where I got an offer to play college football. Unfortunately, those of you are higher eds here, I didn't sign my letter of intent, and in the meantime, the coach gets fired. He goes to a junior college in California and offers me an opportunity to go, but I would have to work part-time. At that time, I was undocumented, so working part-time, legally, if you will, was not an option. So you go to Miami-Dade College and you figure out how to pay for college. because I was what we call an illegal alien, trying to figure out what an alien is, but that's what I was called. So you figure out how and what you need to do to succeed, right? But I'm going to tell you, Coach Larsh was no different. Coach Larsh was no different than Miss Kilbride, my 4th grade teacher, when we moved to the United States, who welcomed me in Winston Park Elementary with open arms. No different than my 10th grade Miss Goldstein, my 10th grade teacher that said, get out of these ELL classrooms because you're coasting and get into regular English class. No different than Mr. Caballero, my geometry teacher, who made math fun. And when we had the answer, I just wanted to always try to get the right answer, because he would say, oh, booga, 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 and all of these different things. And we were just like trying to get the right answer, but he was teaching us geometry. And no different than Ms. Bridges, my 12th grade senior English teacher, that when I lost hope and wanted to drop out, said, you're not doing that. You're going to graduate. So all of my teachers are no different. They are no different than the 18,000 educators that are here in the Clark County School District. You see a little bit about my undocumented note for this community. In the state of Nevada, 17% of the families in this community, in this state, are undocumented. Number 1 per capita in the country. Just like my family. So when my president and my board talks about holding and supporting our children and eliminating barriers, that is a commitment that we are going to make as a school system. Because we have to eliminate the barriers. Because every single student succeeds whether they cross paths with an educator that loves them. We can't leave things to fate. We can't leave things to chance. It can't just be the luck of the draw. It's got to be every single educator in the Clark County School District. And I talk about 18,000 teachers, and the rest of our support professionals are 40,000 employees. Because as I say to all of them, we have jobs because there's children sitting in our classrooms. That is the reason. So we have to create a system just like the cinnamon rolls. It can't be leaving things to chance. It's got to be a system for us to improve the teacher and student engagement in our classrooms so all children can learn at high levels, because we are CCSD. Because students succeed when teachers succeed, when their working conditions facilitate educational success, enabling students to learn so they can graduate and choose their career or college. Better yet, career and college. It's not either or. Our educators are struggling because of the unprecedented challenges that we have faced for the last 2 years. Through the pandemic, school districts across America kept our schools and our children engaged to offer the education that they are entitled to, and for us to give them the best chance to succeed. Teachers have said to us they are fearful, overwhelmed, disrespected, overworked, and underpaid. Yet, they continue to show up to work every single day because they believe in the power of education. So let's imagine let's just imagine if those were our conditions. How would we feel about going to work? So if we are going to improve, which we are, if we are going to improve academic outcomes for more of our children, we must pay teachers their worth, value their skills, give them more time. They need more time. Hold each other accountable for the success for our students, restore respect in the profession, and optimally fund public education as a great equalizer that it's meant to be. This year, I've had the pleasure of engaging with many of our educators throughout this district. Ms. Tricia Pettit, who is here. Let's stand up and recognize her. She ensures that our students benefit from her knowledge, her skills, and experience as Del Webb Middle School teacher. What I'm going to share, Ms. Pettit previously worked with the Sharks at Mandalay Bay as a scientist, but now has decided to take on the real Sharks of 8th grade at Del Webb. Thank you, Ms. Pettit. So, please raise your hand. Raise your hand if you benefited from a teacher. See, we've all had a Coach Larsh. We've all had a Miss Pettit. Everybody deserves, all 300,000 of our children deserve a high-quality educator. And as our researcher, John Hattie, our principals know, we've been doing a lot of work around John Hattie's work. The greatest influence on student progression is a classroom teacher and a building principal. Their passion to work together on behalf of children. So let me state it very clear for our teachers. I was a teacher at a different time, in a different place, with different obstacles. The struggles you face are real, and we hear you. And we want to work together to understand what we need to do better. So beginning this coming month, I will meet with teachers and roundtables throughout the district to learn, to continue to engage, to support you, to know what we need to do better. So I want to thank you in advance for giving me that opportunity. I appreciate our community support in public education. And ignoring the most recent conversation that has been going on in this district since 1977 about breaking up districts, I thank this community for their support and declining to sign on that conversation. So thank you. Because if we are going to prepare our children with the best education that we can fund, we must recognize the value of public education and why it's so critical to community cohesion and workforce preparedness. So pitting urban children against suburban children is not the recipe for success. Our children, you see them up here, our children understand and see through it. So I challenge our municipalities across this county to ask how we can help our kids before they come onto our schools. Because you see, we have over 10,000 children and growing that are homeless. 10,000 of our babies are homeless. Every single municipality, every student group, black, white, Latino, Native American, LGBTQ, every single student group, what are we doing to help them before they step onto our schools? Why is that not a focus of our municipalities? To help us address the needs of our children, because our teachers, our staff, they're spending time feeding them, providing clothes, so our kids can focus on instruction. So please continue to be our partners so we can help our children succeed. Because succession cannot, I guess you can clap, I'm sorry. I'm moving forward. Thank you. Secession cannot and will never prepare our children for the increasingly diverse world of work we now live in. Our kids, who you saw up here, we have plenty, 300,000, are smarter than we give them credit for. And this generation of young people will not tolerate these divisions. Integration and inclusion are the future they see for themselves, not separation. So we must come together, we must continue to come together as a community and address the needs of every single student, no matter where they come from, no matter where they live, no matter how they show up, or their circumstances. We in the Clark County School District will meet them where they are, because we are CCSD. So if we're to continue making gains as we rebound post-pandemic, we've made some gains. We have room for improvement, plenty of room. Nevada must optimally invest in its children. Should the choice be made not to fund education optimally, we must ask ourselves, what outcomes are we prepared to accept with less than optimal investment? You see, as a former football player, I can go back to that picture. Just kidding. As a former football player, as a coach, as a trainer, as a teacher, as a principal, as a deputy superintendent, and now as the current superintendent, my directions and the direction of those for whom I am in charge of or responsible should never be, we've given you less than adequate equipment, decades-old instruction, cramped training conditions, let's go and be average. Now, what do we expect? I've never seen a football coach, I've never seen a Major League Baseball coach, manager at the beginning of a season and say, let's just get to 500. Never seen it. So we must raise our student performance. I'm not denying that. And our proficiency rates for every student group. We also need to continue to invest in our schools, in our children. Because who in the NBA, in the NFL, in the NHL, or Major League Baseball will charge their teams with average performance? Those tickets won't sell fast. Because who would want to watch that spectacle? Thankfully, our very own Las Vegas Aces showed us what can be accomplished when we invest, we prepare, and perform. Coach Becky Hammond exemplifies investing for performance. 60 years ago, January 22nd, 1963, Nevada's Governor Grant Sawyer said this in his State of the State. Nevada ranks 13th in the nation in average teachers' salaries, 5th in the western states, ranked 15th in the nation on pupil-teacher ratio, 8th in the nation for median number of school years completed by persons 25 years or older, reputedly have the highest literacy rate in the nation, and 4th in the nation on the basis of money spent per pupil. Since then, 60 years fast forward, we have not invested in early childhood. We've made some investments in categoricals. We did legislate school autonomy without accountability, ignoring research and data to the contrary, which I will touch on a little later. So where are we today? We've seen the headlines, not headlights. Nevada ranks 27th in the nation in average teacher salaries. We rank 49th in the nation on pupil-teacher ratio, 47th in the nation on the basis of money spent per pupil. So if our children are to achieve better outcomes, we must focus on supporting them optimally to produce better outcomes and hold us accountable. I know my CFO is here, but I don't know if we have any other math teachers in the room. But chasing maximum results from a minimal investment is a long shot and a gamble that our children and our community can no longer afford. We must optimally fund education if our students are to succeed academically for graduation and beyond, no matter what path they choose. So as long as Nevada funds education below average, our students will continue to suffer the consequences. Across the entire state, this great state of Nevada that's been my home for the last 5 years, and I love Nevada, and I love Las Vegas, and I love Mesquite, Moapa, Laughlin. It's a beautiful tapestry of children that I have the honor to serve. We all remain committed in their continued advocacy for optimally funding Nevada students. In 2022, the legislatively created School Funding Commission identified an abysmal funding levels our state currently allocates for education across this state and was, again, declared it woefully inadequate. Report after report after report, the findings are the same. Our children are not failing. Maybe we are failing our children. The state's education budget is the lowest percentage of Nevada's statewide budget in recent history. So if Nevada's leaders and the people that represent expect better outcomes, as I do, then funding must be in line with the expectations. Breaking up districts, continuing to underpay our educators is not strategy for success. They're strategies for average. Our children are not average. Each of us must ask ourselves, how much funding do our children deserve? We currently fund our children's education below average. What are we saying to our kids? In the words of my favorite artist, and by the way, I always wanted a walk-up song. My favorite artist, Pink. The kids know. Must our children continue to ask themselves, what about us? What about us? So imagine what we could do if we funded education as a collective statewide priority. Public education is a guarantee under the Constitution to everyone. Supporting public education ensures equal opportunity to be an educated and informed participant in civic life. Employers expect their employees to have basic skills and understanding. They need employees who can read, understand math, and function in this diverse society. Historically, Our underfunding of education has led to chronic performance on state national assessments. So if we are to improve our student performance, we must invest optimal funding to get optimal results. We updated our Nevada's way of funding education, a 54-year-old formula, with a pupil-centered funding formula. Now let's fund it optimally to benefit our children and our futures. Our Governor Lombardo, as he said, met with all superintendents in the state earlier this month, and he said to us what he said Monday, that he's going to seek an increase in funding this session. Governor, your budget is historical spend in education. I, along with our colleagues, applaud you for your efforts and your focus on our kids. Thank you. Now, we all need to work together to do right by our children. Our support professionals, our administrators, support our teachers in the classroom every single day, but more is needed. In addition to the 40,000 employees that we have in our community, we need more, because it's simple math. There's 300,000 children, there's 40,000. We need more. We need all of you to show up, to speak up, participating in the education of our children. As I shared last year in our State of the Schools, there's one plan, our Focus 2024, that my board holds me accountable around student achievement. We have the team in Central and in our schools, in our classrooms, in every single department. We have the team, so now let's execute, because we are CCSD. As we are the largest employer in Nevada, we need all employers to be engaged and focused on the outcomes of our students. The parents of our kids work in gaming, entertainment, small business, banking, retail, hospitality, construction, food service, medicine, government, sales, and utilities. Every single sector of our economy. When every one of us is committed to the success of our children, our community will thrive economically, socially, mentally, and physically. We need employers to recognize the importance of parental involvement in our children's educational success by supporting public education so every single child can succeed. Because if we are to produce the workforce of tomorrow, we need to educate our children for proficiency today. We will continue to meet our students where they are, no matter where they live, no matter what we want them to be, no matter how they show up every single day. I still remember when I was a building principal in Massachusetts, my superintendent used to say, "Jesus, the parents are sending you the best they have. I assure you they're not keeping the good ones at home. You got to educate every single one." So despite the distractions in this community, we invite every single child as they are to come into our schools so they can dream their capacities and be able to grow as citizens, because we are CCSD. I got to tell you, I have to thank this beautiful tapestry of children. Sorry, I still call you children. Thank you for being here to showcase the great work and what we all stand for in our schools. Please stand so we can recognize you one more time. You see, I have been meeting with them since the start of the school year. They have been honest and direct in their responses to tell me how they can improve their educational experiences in our schools. They're not worried about themselves, but each other. Their input has been critical. So they have a task. They're going to help me create and help me solve the mental health issues, as that has been one of their priorities. I'm going to tell you, for those of you in the audience, or those of you watching, only 2 were concerned about the grading minimum F. That's an adult issue that we have to continue to educate, because our children understand. This school year, we are thrilled to open up Global Community High School and expand on Maryland Parkway to serve immigrant, refugees, and any newcomers to this valley. This school provides all educational support systems our students need to transition to life in school in Southern Nevada. Language barriers are bridged, cultural differences are acknowledged, and learning occurs. On the same campus, we have built a beautiful career technical academy. Some of my friends are here of this community workforce connection. I know 872 has been partnering with us, so our students can get into a career pathway. CTE coursework on work-based learning opportunities for building and construction, advanced manufacturing. We are meeting our students where they are and tailoring the choice for them. Navigating a new country is complex. This past August, we've also opened up the Family Support Center, which is part of this complex. Here, new students to Southern Nevada are supported as we enroll them into school, show them how to navigate our community and the American public school system. We give parents language lessons, computer classes, familiarize them with our education system while tending to their children. Newcomers receive health care, checkups, vaccinations, and other at our on-site clinic. Again, by law, we must educate every single child, even those students who come from mixed immigration status, like families like mine. These resources are going to prepare them to support their children so they can succeed academically as we onboard them. Navigating a new country is complex, so we are going to continue working to eliminate their barriers. Part of this strategy involves our undocumented and immigration, family, and youth services. That is a mouthful, so we've pared it down to call it Unify. Our community partners are identifying and providing support systems for our children and their families. See, we are committed as a school district for all children to succeed. We're giving them the opportunity. Despite the underfunding of public education, we have things to be proud of. Many accomplishments. 2 weeks ago, our Durango High School students won the National NASA Tech Rise Student Challenge. With this win, these students will get to test their innovative solutions for space exploration and the study of Earth. I'm glad the governor had to step out, but Rancho did not outdo Durango. Durango also has the first, there they are, thank you Durango. Durango has the first Space Force in Nevada as well. Cimarron High School, the High Rollers robotics team, recognized for world championships in robotics. Pablo Macias Lopez, where are you, Pablo? I know you're here. Pablo, Legacy High School student, first in his family to go on to college. $350,000 scholarship to Yale University, one of the finest institutions in this country. The class of 21-22 was awarded over $240 million in scholarship. So let's talk about some comparisons of large urban school districts in America. CCSD outperforms those districts and equally performs despite our low education funding. We participated in the TUDA, which is a trial urban district study, which allows us to compare ourselves to like districts. According to the executive director, Dr. Hart, who is here with us this morning, here's what he said. Clark County School District perform as well or better than their peers in large cities nationally. Sustaining achievement in any grade or subject in the face of a global crisis is no easy feat and is a testament to Clark County's efforts to help their students recover from the impact of a global pandemic. Over half of the 12,000 students who've taken AP classes have earned college readiness qualifying score. Our Black and Hispanic students also improved in their AP exams last year. I understand we have room for growth, but we have to celebrate the success. Over 10,000 of our AP exams qualified for college credit, a potential tuition savings of $5 million to their families and their economy, our economy. $5 million of savings, potential savings for our babies. When I arrived here in 2018, we had close to 2,500 students in dual credit. Today, we stand over 7,500 students because of partnerships with UNR and Nevada State College, which translates into 15,000 students in dual credit opportunities. Just this week, I was on a panel with our state superintendent, Washoe superintendent, President Sandoval, and the chancellor for Enchi, as we discuss dual credit options. Over 100 of our educators participated. Principals took their teachers and spent time with higher ed professors. Last year, we invested in students in Nevada State College $3 million in investment for our kids to build our own, paying for scholarship for students that are enrolled in their teacher program. We're growing our own folks. Leslie Arias, are you here, Leslie? Leslie Arias, who is here, a student that graduated from ECTA in our teacher program. She's currently a Hispanic Serving Institution mentor, helping current students at Nevada State College through their college journey. The money that we allocated from these scholarships enables students to take more classes and graduate sooner. And I know our chief of HR is here. We need to find Leslie because we got a job for her in our classrooms. And additionally, over 72,000 of our students are enrolled in CTE programs. As we move forward to improve the academic outcomes for our children, we have organized our school district in 3 regions. 3 phenomenal region superintendents under the tutelage of our deputy superintendent focused on instruction. Let me tell you, I was so excited to hear our governor in the state of the state with the funding and accountability, because that's what we have been doing. We have been leading with a focus of providing intensive support of our schools. So we identified 60 schools, differentiated student support, intense monitoring, intense coaching, intense support. Out of those 60 schools, last year, 50% of them made gains. 25% of them made double-digit gains. The same kids, the same teachers. Phenomenal work happening in our schools. Now, we have more work to do. So this year, we're doubling down, and we have identified 23 elementary schools, because we all know the earlier that we improve reading outcomes, the easier it will be. 23, and we created the Transformation Network to support our schools. As we continue to implement our strategic plan, the board will continue to hold me accountable to make sure that we meet our goals. The academic unit also rolled out high-quality instructional materials math and science, and ready to bring on ELA. This has been possible because of the investment, the historic investment by the federal government. So I thank the Southern Nevada federal delegation for their commitment to our students. I mentioned research few minutes ago. The Council of the Great City Schools, the premier organization in urban education, released a study, the Mirrors or Windows Report, looking at 10 years of data, 10 years, reputable data in our schools, in urban America. The districts that outperform us, that we're watching, Chicago, San Diego, Miami-Dade, and Dallas. Here's what revealed as a successful strategy. Strong and stable leadership focused on instruction, high standards and common instructional guidance and support, teacher-leader quality, professional development, acting at scale, accountability and collaboration, looking at challenges and opportunities as opportunities, support for struggling schools and its students, and community investment and engagement. John Hattie also cited that collective teacher efficacy is ranked as the #1 predictor influencing student achievement. So while our kids continue to rebound, we are making progress with many of the programs that exist. So we must expand our mental health support. We added providers for our students. Not enough. We're going to continue to invest. Our cost for service and violence has decreased. We have equipped every single employee with the instant alert system so they have the capability to call for help in every campus and every department. Additionally, we reallocated $85 million of our district to upgrade our campuses for single points of entry, perimeter fencing, and our state-of-the-art equipment and our cameras. We continue, I'm going to tell you, I stand here as a superintendent and I welcome the choice conversation because we have the most robust choice in Nevada. We have been recognized by the Magnet Schools of America last year as the #1 district in the country, by the Magnet Schools, the premier choice organization, as the #1 district in the country for choice. Southeast CTA, the #1 school in the country, not just Nevada, not in just the West Coast, in the nation. Sometimes you have to ask us instead of reading the headlines. There's great things happening for our children in our schools. We will continue to focus on mental health. In the coming months, appreciate the partnership with the Teamsters as they've been helping us. Last night, I'm so proud of the board, and we're opening up in the coming months wellness centers for our support professionals and our police. We're going to lower healthcare costs, and we're going to have healthy employees. So thank you. Not only do we graduate and educate children, we also recognize our role in this community and the environmental impact. Just this month, in partnership with Nevada Energy, we deployed the first electric bus in the state. I'm still trying to see if LA released their buses before we did, but I think they did. But thanks to the federal government, we have 25 additional buses that are coming to this community. I am extremely proud to announce today that in addition to the artificial turf installed in 29 high schools, starting this year, we're going to spend over $290 million to install 90 million square feet of artificial turf. We are partners in this community. We understand the water crisis. This will save 500 million gallons of water a year in Nevada. Despite what some critics would have you believe, we do take our stewardship of the taxpayer dollars seriously. Under the leadership of Jason Gowdy and the finance team, this school district is in the best financial shape that it's ever been or has been in many years. Our finances are transparent, they're readily available, and we report them annually. While comprehension of this information is left up to the reader, if you want it, it's available, and we're happy to provide it. I appreciate the legislators who are here today and those watching virtually. We will work with you to provide our employees the compensation that they deserve for their dedication and the success of our student outcomes. Since becoming the superintendent, working alongside the board, we have been given employee raises every year, commensurate to the funding that we receive. With the vision of our legislators and our governor, we will work together to secure compensation for all adults and children so all students can achieve optimal performance. Let me conclude by sharing how proud I am of this leadership team that we have assembled in every school and every department in central office, from our bus drivers, our food personnel, our teachers, our support professionals, and my cabinet. You're all focused on children. So, as I was preparing for this morning's remarks, Todd Sorey said, "Superintendent, what are you most proud of?" After thinking and thinking, I knew I was trying to communicate something that would be exciting. This may not be so exciting, but it was in my face. It's the focus that we have prepared, a system that is an internal system with high standards, no excuses for our kids. That's going to take time in a system that didn't have many systems. But this team, in our schools, in our departments, have a standard of operations that we can accelerate. So I thank them for putting up with my lack of patience on behalf of children. There are so many times that I reflect on that man, Coach Larsh. So I have a phenomenal chief of staff. As we were preparing for the speech, she says, "Go to page 32. And there was a picture of this man. I've lost touch. Hadn't seen him, hadn't talked to him. Thank you, Shauna. She says, he's waiting for your call. That's his son, graduated a year later. He's now living actually in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I talked to him yesterday. And I said, Coach, you have no idea. He knew who I was. He says, you and Chip. By the way, Chip said when you go to Iowa, you got to change your name to Duke because Jesus ain't going to cut it in Iowa. But let me tell you, he said to me, Jesus, I remember you. You had a kind soul. You needed somebody to love on you. I said, you have no idea how many times I think of you because you helped me to get through some of the darkest moments. Because you believed. He goes, it was easy. You wanted to get better. You just didn't know. He said, continue. That's what kids want. Somebody to believe in them. Miss Bridges and Coach Larsh never gave up. Never gave up. They saw my potential. They cared. They saw me as a student and supported me. Where in my family they didn't. So I stand here today as your superintendent, building the same formula that has helped me realize my potential, so we can do that for the 300,000 children that we have the honor to serve. Thank you for supporting our work. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Now let's get to work.
You've been watching breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.